Welcome to the Undrafted Uncensored cast of pod. Hosted by Nick Archuleta. Mosted by Colin Zanker. And last but certainly is least, Joseph Goodwin.
Welcome in everyone to Undrafted Uncensored, where it is the most important day in Colorado. It's Rocky Mountain Showdown, baby. Sporting the 970. Got my green Colorado State Aggie shirt going. And Joe's over there just leaning.
Just kicking it. You know, I got my DeMarcus Ware Hall of Fame hat. I forgot to bring my Let's Ride pin for tomorrow, but I'll have it for tomorrow, so that's going to be fun.
I mean, if we're talking about clothing, let's talk about, I'm wearing my Denver Browns, the most championships in, Colorado right now. So, shout out to the old Denver Browns. What's up, Red?
Actually, speaking of the Browns, did you talk to CD? Did they win on Sunday?
No, I did not talk to him. I've had a hell of a week getting ready. I got a friend flying in today. So it's been a busy week of a lot of hours, and back and forth between hotel, radio, and teaching. So I have not, but I will be getting in touch because they head to Arizona next weekend, I believe.
That's fast.
Yeah, it's early. It's really early this year. Maybe it is actually this. No, it's next weekend.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm gonna do some research. Let's see if they won. But speaking of that, my baseball season kicks off tomorrow again. Fall baseball. I got 4 new baseball bats.
You didn't learn the first time, huh?
Hell no. Give me injury, give me pain. I love it, man. The way I was playing at the end of the season, phenomenal. Besides the pain, but yes, I got
4 new bats, huh?
Yeah. They were some Blem bats. So,
that sounds like baseball bats.
Oh, I love that sound.
It's a good sound.
Like $20 to $30 a pop because there's some minor inconsistencies with them.
Are they ash?
I got ash, maplewood, Adirondack, and regular.
Oh, I love the Adirondacks.
Black. So,
in my experience, ash is the one that is the very best. Kind of like no one ever was.
Kind of like no one ever was. Yeah.
Joe.
Let's see if there's
Pokemon jokes.
Pictures. Let's see if there's pictures put up of the recent playoff results. Oh, playoff bracket results. I can just look at that. But yeah, so I got my new Wise Guys beat them 6-3.
Oh man, it's because we weren't there.
It's true. I really had time on Sunday to go. But,
I know. Their game started at 8:30?
8:30, yeah.
I would have been there for 5 minutes. I had to leave to go to the radio station.
Yeah. Oh man, that's too bad. Well, sorry, CD. We're pulling for you. But still, I got the Denver Browns.
Yeah, but not in fantasy.
Give myself a little good juju before tomorrow's opening game for the fall season.
Where do you guys play at?
Long Lake Ranch.
Oh God,
Farvada.
Oh man, it's so out of the way.
Yeah. But hey, I guess it makes sense though for the when school's in session to not have their fields in use for other stuff, even though it's only 2 months.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say high school fall ball isn't usually that long anyway.
And I don't even feel like, I'm not saying they don't have fall ball, but I don't. Sundays they don't play anymore.
No, well they're not allowed to anyway, even if it was regular season.
Yeah, fall ball is all club stuff.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure in the fall. That's from my memory. I mean, it could have changed. Could have changed in the few years since I've been in high school.
Just a couple.
Yeah, just a few.
Yeah. I was dumb. I played football, so I like to try to kill myself.
I mean, we could just go into that right now if you want to start with football and
skip segment
killing yourself.
1, jump to segment 2, and then jump back.
Because
Let's do it. Let's do it.
That
Dude,
was brutal.
when you fall on the ground and your hand is still looking like it's holding a football, that's bad. That's no bueno.
It's not good.
And that's 5. Like you know, you have to remember that Teddy Bridgewater was saying after he got his last concussion here in Denver that when he woke up in the hospital, he had to realize that he's more than just Teddy Bridgewater, the football player. He's also Theodore Bridgewater, which is a dad, a husband, a family man, a son, a nephew, all this other stuff. And football isn't worth your life. As much fun as it is to play it, there comes a point where, yeah, it's really going to suck to see Tua go, but I don't want to see that dude, I don't want to see him on another wall with, as a victim of CTE because he, had to kill himself or, whatever the circumstances as severe as they can be with this.
Yeah, or like whatever Antonio Brown's doing right now.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
As you know, even though that's a good joke, it's still sad. It's not a funny thing. And dude, that hit was, as soon as I saw it, I was like, ooh. And you see him walking back to the locker room, and he's just got that like clenched jaw kind of look of just like he did not look okay.
Oh, and he's frozen. Well, all right. Well, I'll continue on for that one. It was scary. The thing is, him coming back, I don't think we should expect him back for a while because last time he had this injury 2 years ago, they were back-to-back injuries, and he came back and got dinged again, and it looked even worse while he was sitting there playing, running around, wobbling. Joe looks like Joe's back, but as he came back to the game, or he came back to play, then he got injured again, and that was another time where he had to be basically guided by his offensive lineman of where to go. And the BS excuse of he hurt his ankle or his leg was hurt that his lineman had to help him, when we all know and could see it clear as day it was a concussion.
Oh yeah.
I believe that was Brian Flores. And as I look back on some of the things that I talked about, maybe one of the reasons Brian Flores hasn't gotten another shot is because of his handling of a situation like that. Because did he really have his players' interest at heart? Did he really, does he really care? Or did he care about winning a game and sticking it to Dolphins management? That could be one of those things that I kind of forgotten about until right now, was the way that situation was handled. And I think Mike McDaniel will be a lot more
empathetic,
cognizant, empathetic, cautious with Tua this time around. And, the Dolphins now could be in line. They will be in line for another quarterback, because you can't, as good as Tua has been, besides last year, he's always been injured. You can't trust him to stay on the field. And how long are you going to have a team like that assembled with the firepower there with a chance to win? Maybe they're in the free agent market too, because they are definitely in a win now mode, but they're in a tough spot at this moment. So,
well, we talked about it last week too. The Dolphins are starting to get into that window. They got obliterated by the Bills on Monday night, which kind of made me rethink what I was thinking about how good the Dolphins were for a brief moment. But, in all reality, they're still good enough that they can build that championship team. And, if your quarterback's going to miss 4 out of the 17 weeks, that's a good chunk of change.
Yeah, dude, it's rough. It depends on how on what Tua announces, if he's going to come back or not, when he comes back, all that, because they could end up being, like you guys said, in the free agent market. They could be the next destination for Gardner Minshew or Joe Flacco or Jameis Winston, one of those higher tier backup caliber quarterbacks, and then maybe they end up drafting somebody going forward, or maybe that's just it and it's just over and they have to just immediately go for another rookie next year and start over. And just it's a real shame, but we all kind of assumed this was possible during the Brian Flores years when Tua kept getting concussions. And it's like, man, I understand that he's really good at play action and he's really accurate, but those concussions are they're gonna end his career. And then McDaniel came in and really revitalized Tua's career. And so all of a sudden it looked like they got something there, but that it just hurts to see. And you may be right that that's one of the reasons Brian Flores didn't get a shot, but I think it's mostly because he sued the NFL.
Well, I think that was after the fact. Wasn't that after he didn't get hired in a round of coaching?
One round of coaching, yeah, he didn't get hired.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that could have been one of the reasons why. But even then, like he was starting to kind of fall off a little bit. But it's how it goes, you know. There was a lot of inner turmoil from that team, and there was talks from people about how he treated Tua, and from Tua himself, it turns out.
I was gonna say he rubbed people the wrong way, and not the Deshaun Watson wrong way.
Oh my god, dude! Like,
sublime the wrong way.
When is this going to end for that cat?
Like, well, when he stops,
when
he stops deciding to relieve himself on
no pun intended.
I think of Liar Liar.
The massage.
Stop breaking the law, asshole!
Right,
I was like, dude. At what point can you just walk through the city of Houston and tell us which women you didn't do something with?
It's not sounding. Yeah, I was gonna say it's not sounding like that's gonna be a long list. It might be hard to find them, but it's much like it's hard to find a quarterback for the Dolphins. I don't know why the Broncos are not on the. Maybe they have been on the phone, but Zach Wilson, send him there. Jarrett Stidham, send him there. He's got to be better than Skylar Thompson in Miami. And Zach Wilson, I think he's shown enough in this preseason that he was probably maybe not like a top flight quarterback, but maybe, bottom third, which is okay.
He can get you through a season.
Yeah. And he's shown that the last 2 years. He is tough. I know he was benched and things like that, but he didn't leave because he was getting hit. Yeah. So
look at Baker's doing now.
And it's not like I want to say for the Broncos, it's kind of scary to give up Zach Wilson in a way, because right now I trust Zach Wilson more than Jarrett Stidham for the Broncos. Yes. But if you can get some more picks out of it, Dolphins are desperate. Could you wrangle? I mean, a third rounder, a second rounder?
I would push for second.
Maybe
yeah. I would push for. I mean, if it's Zach Wilson and he looks as good as he does, he's already your backup. You can push your way maybe to a second if they're desperate enough, because like we said, this is a championship window right now, and you're one of the top teams in your division. You lose your star quarterback. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Ask the Broncos when they traded for a quarterback and a head coach.
Well, and even that, when you think of other backups that are capable, Drew Lock is not leaving New York. He might be the starter in a week or after this weekend against Washington. Who knows? Or maybe during this weekend. There just aren't a ton of backups. Yeah, they could call back Ryan Tannehill and see if he wants to come out. They could see if Ryan Fitzpatrick decides he wants to get out of the booth and throw some bombs against Miami. But
playoff Fitzpatrick, dude, playoff beard.
But I think for the Broncos, you should explore this. And like I said, it's scary as a Broncos fan, because I'm not sold on Bo Nix. I told you guys that from the start. Like, there are things. I hope he works out. I do hope he works out. Is Zach Wilson more gifted athletically? Yeah, he is. And so there's that tease of, he could be better than Bo Nix. And if Bo Nix doesn't work out, at least we have a possible immediate replacement there. But then the other part of it is that I've talked about, this team is devoid of talent. And so in order to get talent, you have to trade players. So maybe you get rid of that security and you move up. And if Bo Nix isn't the answer, then you have to get another quarterback in 2 years. Arch Manning, hello. There are those chances. but you have to get the draft picks to add on to this team. So I say for the Broncos, you're going to let it ride with Bo Nix anyways. Oh my God. I said that going into this weekend.
Why did you do that?
I can't believe I just did that. I'm sorry. Everybody. That's a terrible look.
Okay.
I still appreciate all y'all for listening and watching.
There you go. You love you guys. But don't worry, Colin. You didn't say let's. You said
we got penalty mark on the play.
So okay.
I did say let it ride.
Exactly. Yeah, correct. Yeah, according to the official review, it's technically okay.
5-yard penalty. And we will assess a $25 fine for
but
illegal phrase.
After this, I will back off and let Joe go. But yeah, so I think you should just trade whoever it is, even if it's Stidham. If you get a 5th, 6th, 7th rounder for Stidham, get rid of him, send him down to Miami, and try and improve this next year's draft class. Sorry for the penalty. I got my final words in about that. Joe?
We're very upset. No, I think the Broncos actually go the opposite. I think they trade Stidham. I think they keep Zach Wilson. I think they like what they've seen from Zach Wilson. And I think the NFL is still like their memory isn't that short to where they're only looking at Zach Wilson from the preseason and they're forgetting about how terrible he was last year and how the Jets needed to do anything else at quarterback to try to salvage their season, and they refused. And by the time they did, it was too late. They had to basically win out with like Trevor Siemian, and that was never going to happen. So I feel like Jarrett Stidham is the more tradable guy anyway, and I think the Broncos are happy with Zach Wilson. I think they're good with the reclamation project, and if they have to put him in, then Sean Payton gets to prove how geniusy he really is. So yeah, that's kind of been my take on keeping 3 quarterbacks the whole time, is that there's going to be a team, the proverbial Vikings, which it feels like every couple of years they're looking to trade for a new quarterback because, they traded for Sam Bradford, first round pick, and then they got Case Keenum. It's constant for them. But yeah, with Tua going down, you're right. Sorry. So yeah, man, that could end up working out well for the Broncos, is getting something for one of those quarterbacks that's not doing a ton for you right now. It's nice to have that veteran presence with Stidham in the locker room for sure. And you know what, if you can, like Colin said, wrangle up one of those higher draft picks for Zach Wilson, then you send. You send that shit immediately. Like you send it yesterday is when you send that trade in. So yeah, that's.
I just don't think Stidham is a more valuable trade asset.
No,
like you do, Joe. He's got a $5 million contract, and I know you said they have a short memory, but also Zach Wilson never looked as good in the preseason or in any games as he did this preseason, which is why I think that, they do have short memories, but also there's a lot of recency bias. And the way he looked in the preseason, there was talks that he was starting the year,
Yeah.
Here in Denver over Nix. And I know that might be the rookie quarterback, but I don't remember a preseason game from Zach Wilson looking this good. He was always throwing interceptions and having bad plays in New York. So I think that his value really has gone up, and it could go up. So,
and we have to remember too, he played for the Jets. When's the last time they had a good quarterback?
Right now.
Yeah.
Okay, before Ron. That's kind of cheating.
And he even looked pretty rusty. Brett Favre.
Favre?
Yeah, Favre.
How good also was he in New York, though?
To quote the great Allen Iverson, we're talking about preseason. Loose quotation.
Hey, there's plenty of guys who have made their names and made their marks in preseason that have gone on to plenty of great NFL careers.
Terrell Davis.
Hello, Terrell Davis.
Rod Smith.
Yeah, but he wasn't terrible in the league, and then all of a sudden had one good preseason game, and then everything was great.
Philip Lindsay.
Yeah, when you're terrible in the regular season, you don't turn it around with one good preseason game.
That's fair.
Still takes, and the NFL isn't going to be like, oh man, look at that kid in the preseason throwing against, because Zach Wilson played in the final minutes of the first game, so against the 3rd and 4th string guys. Like, he had the lowest level of competition playing against pretty much the whole preseason, and it doesn't mean that he's not good. If I'm looking at those 2 quarterbacks, I would rather have Zach Wilson as my backup. But we got to see more of him because we watched Broncos preseason than a lot of other people and teams. So I don't know. I feel like, and there's something about Jarrett Stidham. Like, Josh McDaniels wanted to keep him around with the Raiders. Like, for some reason, NFL teams love Jarrett Stidham. I don't know why. I don't agree with it, but I feel like if you're looking for somebody to lead your team to the playoffs, you're not going to get Zach Wilson, especially in that division.
No.
With how much they
just
saw
remember,
him.
it takes a village, people. That's what Joe's saying. It takes a village.
People, YMCA.
Well, I've
said
got
village
this
people.
update. So to take us back to the last show, when I was talking about how you knew the Broncos schedule in the preseason. First preseason game, the starters got a series or two. Then they got a quarter. Then they got a half. Then they had the final game off. And so now we have Jordan Love, who's questionable for tomorrow. You have CMC going down now. He's going to be on the IR. So that's 4 games that you have no McCaffrey. Sorry, CD.
Puka Nakua.
Madden curse.
I mean,
no, it was the keeper curse. Did any of you guys read my recap?
Because I kept Jordan Love.
No.
CD kept CMC.
Asshole.
Who kept Puka?
I did.
You did. That's right. So, yeah, the keeper curse.
And Nico Collins is questionable. He's playing, but he's questionable. Nico Collins was a keeper that got dinged up also. Jahmyr Gibbs had a leg injury in the preseason, or hamstring, which he might be okay from. I don't know. But yeah, there was a keeper curse. Watch out for Addison and Rice's car rental leagues keepers next year to know who is going to be hurt early in the season.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't actually take a keeper, but my first overall pick was a guy I had last year, and he put up shit points. So you could argue Jonathan Taylor was my keeper, and I got fucked.
I think Jonathan Taylor was on. Oh, he was on my team, wasn't he, at the end of the year?
Maybe at the very end, but yeah. No, I had him the whole year until he ended up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I picked him up, and I thought about keeping him too. I had so many choices. I should have just kept A-Chain. Oh well, idiot.
So it goes A-Train. I love the boys.
I mean, so do you think some of this preseason stuff is really starting to kind of rear its head? Like these guys not playing actual games and getting game time reps, and it's affecting them physically. Am I looking into this too much?
No, when we talked about this the other week, I agreed with you that it was, and we saw the same thing this year as happened last year. I mean, slower starts. Granted, this has been the slowest start for quarterbacks and offenses that we've ever seen since, 2006, I think, is the lowest amount of passing touchdowns that happened in week 1 was this past weekend. It was all rushing. So, yeah, I think it's having an effect, but when you also look at last year, and I'll put this into the Bo Nix category, and what I'm hoping also. Yeah, I see Rush.
Yeah.
Nice. What I'm really hoping for with like Bo Nix and what happened last year with the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love, it was up until after the Broncos game in week 7, 6 that Jordan Love started to really take off and really figure things out, and because he had those reps with his team. He had, the no preseason games, the no practice, the no live game action. That's hurting all of these players right now. And even the Broncos, you look at Audric Estime. He's now out for 4 weeks. I mean, I don't think fumbleitis is a IR eligible reason, but he got put on IR for his leg, supposedly. I think Sean Payton's just really angry at him.
I'm just picturing Audric Estime with a doctor's note that says fumbleitis.
He's got the Friday Night Lights football tape to his arm around. But I hope for Bo Nix that he can have a rise similar to what Jordan Love did last year. Now, granted, Jordan Love had been in the league for a few years and had some experience, but it took him a while to get used to the NFL and all the guys playing on the same squad. That's my hope, is that for the Broncos, we can see something like that happen because it gives promise to the future. And if the Broncos win and start doing what Green Bay did last year, which I don't think is possible. I mean, trust me, I'd be the first one to tell you that I'm happy to be wrong about that. I'd be glad if they make that turnaround. So I just think that it's taking more time, especially with these holdouts. The only team that doesn't really seem affected by the holdouts is San Francisco, and that was only week 1. We'll see what happens, because they didn't seem affected because they have so many weapons, but Brandon Ayuk couldn't catch a ball.
I was going to say they were definitely affected because Ayuk dropped a few passes, and he was the one with the big holdout, because Trent Williams was never going to like change his way of play. He's not going to drop off like until he retires or has some kind of issue. He's going to be a constant.
And I meant as a team because they just stopped throwing to Ayuk because he wasn't catching the ball. Like, okay, we have Deebo Samuel, we have Juwan Jennings, and we have Jordan Mason now. Like that's what I mean as far as the team goes. But like Brock Purdy was there, and so I guess a lot of not that they haven't been affected by it, but they just seem to have not suffered the consequences of a lack of a preseason to this point, because the Buffalo Bills were down early to the Arizona Cardinals. They were down 17-0 at half and came back to win. The
Marvin Harrison with one catch.
Yeah, Marvin Harrison one catch. The Titans were up 17-0 and blew that lead. Not because Chicago was any good, but because Caleb Williams was any good, but Chicago's defense and special teams did that for them and came back and gave them the victory. So it's just a lack of these practices and special teams defense and making smart plays. So like I said, I think that's really about all it. After Atlanta, I mean, I don't want to go down the list of every team that seemed affected, but Atlanta without Kirk Cousins in the preseason, neither Kirk Cousins or Michael Penix took like one drive or something, and that was it.
Yeah.
And their offense looked like they hadn't played together ever, which they haven't, I guess. So I guess there's a reason why they look like that.
Those reps are important. Like I was watching the Manning cast for San Francisco versus the Jets, and Peyton was bringing it up. He's like, bro, those holdouts make a difference. He's like, I don't want to get into it. And then Eli's like, who held out, Peyton? Who held out? And he's like, Edgerrin James. He held out. He's the best running back I ever played with, but he fumbled in the first game because those reps matter. And like, I never liked the idea of just never playing any of your starters in preseason, unless you have a established, like with Sean McVay and the Rams, I get it. They can get away with that, but they still usually end up looking a little bit sluggish week one, but they're a good enough team. They can overcome that. And week one, crazy shit happens all the time. Like we talked about in the last pod, how, the Broncos went 14-3, but still lost game 1 to Miami with Jake Plummer in 05. But it feels different. It doesn't feel like that same weird week one crazy stuff. Like it feels like you guys are saying, it's lack of preparation. It's lack of reps, reps, revelations.
And, to think about it too, and I think I'm just being kind of selfish here, but you got to think about it too. You're selling these regular season tickets now. So you have all the starters out there, and I'm paying full price to watch a team that's probably played a handful of plays, and you expect me to pay the same price for that game as a preseason game, and I'm getting nowhere near the quality I'm expecting because these guys are holding out, or we have to protect them from injury. They're going to get hurt no matter what. It's football. Again, ask Tua. All you can just be running into a guy and you're on your back with your brain still vertical.
Ooh, okay. So here's what happens. Tua has to take a few years off of football to literally get his head straight. And then he makes a comeback after Geno Smith retires. So we get Seahawk Tua.
No. No.
I think that'll be dead by then, but that's a great way for her to revive her career if that happens.
So
yeah. Oh man. Too bad there's no other Hawks. Oh, damn.
Yeah, he goes to play basketball. Atlanta Hawk Tua.
So we'll go ahead and move on from there. Thanks, Joe.
Anytime.
Only you.
10.
So without
9,
Russ playing,
8,
is
7,
this still a must-win game for the Broncos?
6, 5.
Probably. I don't
4,
know. What are we counting down to?
3. The moment that this game means nothing.
Oh, okay. Which game?
No, I was just counting down because that's what the fans should have been doing if Russ was playing. every single play.
Yeah.
Oh,
Every single play, they should have been counting down. I kind of still want them to do that even with him on the bench, but it doesn't have the same
It's not the same
meaning.
has
and
he
I don't
been
think it's going to have the
officially
same
ruled
energy.
out, or is it just they've
He's
said that?
still questionable.
Okay, because I saw he wasn't actually listed as questionable yet. Is he
No.
officially listed as questionable? Because I saw he had no injury designation going into the week, is what I had seen.
No, he's.
heard.
I mean, I'll pull it up right now as of yesterday, unless it changed today.
I haven't seen today. Yeah.
But yeah, and then his comments and Mike Tomlin's comments were something of like, we're rolling with Justin Fields. If you're questionable and it's not looking good, you're not playing, or we're not planning on you playing. Yeah, it's not like it, but he was the emergency quarterback. Final week 2 injury report.
Yeah, he says questionable right now.
Yeah, calf questionable. Left practice.
I was hoping it was some gamesmanship and maybe he's actually fine and they're trying to keep the Broncos on their toes. But then I remembered it's Mike Tomlin and he doesn't do that. It's not Sean Payton we're talking about here.
Well,
that's known for lying to the media about players.
They're saying too he'll probably be out next week as well. So Fields will probably get 3 weeks before Russ even plays.
3 wins, you mean?
I hate everything.
I don't know. We'll see how that offense performs.
I put my money down on this game to be a no touchdown game.
That's starting to feel more and more likely every day. I'm just like
3 safeties.
I think coming into this, one thing that I am excited to see this week, and the possibility Troy Franklin is going to be playing. It looks like he's activated for this game with Devon Vele being out. Vele, who had a strong week 1 showing with his 8 catches, 8 catches, I think is what it was. 8. Real strong showing, but Vele is out for this Sunday's game, which really, really stinks for the Broncos and for Vele, who I said had a really good week 1. But for Troy Franklin, you know what I'm hoping, and I'm not trying to compare these two, but it's a Jamar Chase type of situation where the preseason just doesn't, not that the preseason doesn't matter, but that the preseason is not indicative of what he does in real game situations. And that he and, oh my goodness, I'm going to delete this.
Yeah, we're going to be, those whole segments deleted. Don't worry.
No. There's something in the chat. But so.
Oh, was it a bot?
Yeah.
Yep.
So that he can come out and actually be a gamer more so than he was in the preseason. That's one hope that I have, is that him and Bo Nix can find that same chemistry that they had at Oregon and really do something. I'm happy to lose my touchdown bet if it means that Troy Franklin shows that he belongs, because he didn't show anything like he belongs in the NFL through training camp or any of the games. So that's my one big hope from these injuries.
I would be okay with that too. I mean,
I'm hoping that they re-sign Tim Patrick.
The Detroit Lion, Tim Patrick?
No, he's a free agent. They released him. He's on their practice squad.
Oh, is he again?
Yep.
Oh, okay. That's a shame.
Just bring him back. Let's go right now.
I mean, clearly he's wanted around, so yeah, let's do that. Sean Payton really loves bringing those people back around that he loves.
Look at Will Jordan over here.
It's like we have the keeper curse and we have the captain curse for the Broncos.
Yeah.
Not that it was not that Tim Patrick was a captain last year or any of his years, but the Broncos have gotten rid of 2 of their 5 in Sean Payton's first year, and 3 of the 6 after his second, or going into the second season.
I'm pretty sure he was a captain. When he played a full season. Sadly,
Sean Payton. Sean Payton's captains.
Yeah. He didn't get to play with Sean Payton, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he was a captain. So technically, all former captains.
Oh. All right.
We're not picking this game, so do we want to pick it now?
You just said we're not.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, in victory formation, we're not.
That's why I hadn't said anything. I thought maybe we were, but
no.
I can go with not. So, go ahead, Joe. Start with you.
I don't care anymore if Russell Wilson's not going to fucking play. That Steelers defense is still really good. The Broncos offense wasn't moving the ball against a defense that was less good. But then again, they got 2 safeties on an offense that's probably better than Pittsburgh's offense. Without the turnover, I don't know. This feels like a toss-up. Feels like a trap game either way. Because neither of these teams are very good. I guess I'll pick the Broncos. Fuck it. I picked them to beat Russell Wilson, so we'll see if they can beat the better quarterback.
Broncos always struggle with running quarterbacks. So what is Justin Fields? A running mobile quarterback. I don't expect anything to get better against the running game from last week to this week because Vance Joseph is not a miracle worker. The only miracles he takes is lucky turnovers for 5 straight weeks. So give me the Steelers in a 12-9 game.
Ooh.
12-9.
Ooh, wow.
Sorry, Nick. Still want to take me to the game tomorrow?
Killing me.
You know what? Let's say it's 14-9, but it's because it was all the field goals and then a safety.
There you go. I mean, Joe said it best. This feels like a trap game, no matter what. That Steelers defense is. I mean, they're just good. I think the only benefit right now is the Broncos have beat Justin Fields already once. They did it last year. And so that's enough. Fred the Frank. That's enough. Oh, look at the boat. Look at the tie. You're going fancy today.
He suited up.
Yeah, he did.
He's all dressed up for just to get to town.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep, he is wearing a tie as part of the uniform for Captain Holt.
And so, I don't know. I think they have enough tape on Fields that they can beat him again. But I mean, it's going to be a low-scoring, stupid game. I'm going to go 16-12, some weird number like that.
16-12 could 2 safeties, 3 field goals for one team, or 4 field goals, and then 4 for the other. All right, cool. Let's go.
I'm just trying to help Colin out.
That's it. That's all we're doing.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on now. We'll move ourselves up north on I-25, up into Larimer County, at Canvas Stadium, home of the Colorado State Rams. I'm ignoring that.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Nothing happened.
It sounded like your Ram Buster door thing, trying to knock down the door to see you.
Hosting the Buffaloes.
Sounded like Cody Parkey kicking a field goal.
At 5:30 tonight. Gentlemen, who needs to win more?
Oh, see you.
See you? Yeah, that's easy. That's not even a question.
Oh, man. So did you guys get that picture, by the way, I sent you?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I talked a bunch about it. Heard all the comments about the stalled drives. Their longest.
I hadn't seen that one until this morning when I sent it. I was like, "Oh, that's amazing." I mean, can the Buffs pull this off? I mean, the team I've seen the last 2 weeks, I don't know how much faith I have in them beating the Rams, and I'm not saying that because I'm a Rams fan. I'm saying that because they have not looked good.
I mean, you're saying, can they pull this off like they're underdogs in this game, Nick?
No, they're favorites.
Yeah, of course they're favorites. They are the more talented team. They are the better team as far as athletics go. So when you sit there and look at these, when you have 2 guys that are possible Heisman Trophy winners, yeah, they should beat the Rams team. The Rams. I know that the interview and the stuff with Nicolosi and not
the other guy,
Horton. Those interviews were a few weeks ago. They weren't right before this week, but
yeah,
you poked the bear. Like you did something stupid, And the things you said there, I get it. You don't want to put bulletin board material up there, but all we should have beat them. It feels like we won that game. Not a good idea to do against a team that's led by these guys that are competitive, because a bunch of these guys who came in had no clue what this really meant, and now they know. I mean, now they know, and they have an idea where when you're saying that you murdered them, and like it's just like, guys, CSU I would have given a much better chance had they not said anything.
I think they were kind of baited into it too, though. I mean, the questions asked they're going to invoke some kind of reaction, and you look at how hard they played last year and how they took CU to the limit. I mean, it's gonna get a reaction, and it's gonna make them revive those feelings and just be like, it was our game. Can't tell me you've never been there as an athlete where you lose a game by a run, and it was one little Texas leaguer that just scored a stupid run, and you're like, that shouldn't even be there right now, and you get so mad because that should have been your game.
Like, I get what you're saying, but it's different going against these other guys. Like, there are those games where it's like, yeah, when you're playing a team that's better than you and you lose close, and you're like, damn, that could have been ours. But you got to also realize Travis Hunter was out of this game. The injuries that happened, the hit, there's, I think if CSU had kept quiet, they would have had a better shot at this. The Buffs are coming out, and they're going to come out hot. I think that Norvell's comments were the only real comments last year that you heard out of CSU.
Yeah.
And those, like I said, I mean, however they were construed and however they took, I think that it got kind of blown up, even though it's still funny to joke about hats and sunglasses. I think they got blown up, and it, didn't really mean as much as people, made it out to mean. But I think that was the only thing that you heard from them last year. And this year, I little too confident going into this game against these guys. They're not just going about their business. That's what it is. They're not just going about their business, ready to play a game. They're talking about it.
Yeah, they don't like CSU doesn't feel that much better than last year, whereas CU maybe doesn't feel better, but they feel like they're starting to learn some lessons. They're still fucking up all over the place against that defense in Nebraska, but Nebraska's better this year than they were last year. So I feel like remember when Grant Williams started talking shit to Jimmy Butler with Celtics versus the Heat 2 years ago when the Heat beat them in 7 games, and Jimmy Butler went off in that game to basically win it for Miami when Boston was having themselves a really nice game. That's kind of what it feels like. Kind of feels like Grant Williams talking shit to a superstar that they definitely have the ability to beat. But that game last year, it felt like one of those games where the underdog team needed to do everything to win. And almost everything fell their way. Travis Hunter was out. They had some crazy stuff. I think at the end of the game, not going for 2 was a mistake. But it's how it goes. You live and die by those decisions. But it doesn't feel like CSU was the better team and that they let it slip away. It was like they almost pulled off a miracle and let that slip away. So and I wouldn't go that far that it needs to be a miracle, but I can't think of a lesser term. They need a lot of things to go their way. But you know what? CU they looked really bad in that last game. So they may end up giving CSU more opportunities than they may have had otherwise. And it's still going to be a dangerous game for sure. But I don't know if CSU quite has that level of we should have won that game last year. It was like, fuck, we almost won a game we shouldn't have.
I don't know. I just CSU's made some improvements. They already have a little bit of an idea of how to contain Shedeur and Travis Hunter without hurting him. So get that out there and people take them.
I thought you were just putting a hit out on Travis.
Yeah,
Hunter.
I'm like, wait a minute, let's make sure you understand. I'm not trying to kill the kid.
Insert helmet here. And just a picture of his like liver spleen area.
But I mean, they have an idea already of how to do it. They've proven they can maintain that speed and that style of play. They can keep up with the Buffs. I think their line is worse this year than it was last year. I don't think the Buffs made any improvement on that line. Yeah, they did lose a couple guys as seniors, but I don't think they lost enough to really affect a whole lot how the Rams are going to play. Yeah, they got demolished by Texas, but I mean, they're the number 2 team in the nation now. They started at 4. And they're just starting their climb because they're just that good.
Yeah.
It's at home. It's going to be loud. It's going to be amazing. And I think that's going to be a little bit of the difference too, is they're going to want to storm that field after they hit that dub. And I think the energy, the excitement is going to bleed over to the Golden Green. And I'm not saying they're blowing CU out. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be a good dogfight. And I will not be mad if they lose. I'll be a little upset, but I mean, as long as they keep it close and make it a good dogfight like I expect it to be, I'll be happy.
I mean, I feel like, honestly, I wouldn't be that surprised if it's a blowout from either side. I think momentum is going to play a huge factor in this. If CU comes out and Shedeur gets sacked or throws a pick or has some kind of problem on offense and CSU scores early, CU could let that get to their heads and never recover. And we could see a huge blowout from the Rams. And vice versa. CU could throw a pass to Travis Hunter and all of a sudden, look like they did against North Dakota State, but also not let CSU back into it like they did with North Dakota State. This feels like one of those games that could literally be anything. Like usually we have a pretty good idea. Like we didn't think that Nebraska was going to be a blowout. We thought that was going to be a much closer game.
Yeah.
With the unstoppable force in CU's offense meeting the immovable object in Nebraska's defense. Turns out it was the easily stoppable force versus the immovable object. So we'll see if they could be. Yeah, man, I think momentum is going to be one of the biggest factors of this game. And can either team take back the momentum after they lose it?
No, I just think, like I said, I mean, it's the same thing. You have CU, they're primed and ready to go for this game.
Boo. Boo.
Jokes.
All right, before we kick on to the next topic real quick, we'll do it one more time. We're not doing victory formation with this, right?
No.
Okay. Predictions. Colin?
CU 42-21.
Wow. Joe?
I think it's going to be relatively high scoring. I don't know, man. It's kind of, again, it feels like Broncos Steelers, where it feels like kind of a trap, and it feels like whatever biases I have are going to be wrong. The home field doesn't hurt. CU just feels off. Yeah, they do still have Pat Shurmur. I'm taking the Rams.
All right.
Nick, we know you're taking the Rams.
32-28 Rammies.
Ooh, there you go. Ended it with a field goal. Who's the kicker for the Rams?
Doesn't matter. Kickers don't mean anything.
This is the victory formation.
All right, boys, here we go. Best play in football. 6 right tight diamond victory on 1. Break.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, it's jam.
The Pick'em segment, proving that Colin Zanker is the most humble man in the history of time. Least. Featuring Nick Archuleta, wishing he was somewhere else. And Joe Goodwin, just kinda winging it.
Oh, that's right. This is the victory formation, and because I definitely queued that a little early, one other person in the victory formation is Jamal Murray with his $200+ million contract that he just signed with the Nuggets. Congratulations, Jamal. Just stay healthy. We'll get into that as the season gets closer, and
I want to touch on it.
hopefully he can play. So we
This
touched
has
it.
been
Now
our
we're on
Nuggets
to the
segment.
now we're on to the victory formation. Well, I told you guys when we made our last pick, when it was Buffalo, Miami, that something was up because of how close it was. We all chose Miami, and you know what? We were definitely all wrong as Buffalo won. But I knew something was up, so luckily the fake money bet that was on here was placed on Miami, but the real money bet was placed on Buffalo. Because I knew something was screwed up in that game when the line was that close with Miami and Buffalo. There was something off about it. So thank you, Buffalo, for the victory. But let's talk about other victories that are not quite my own, or well, hopefully other victories. We are going to start things off. It's a short slate of games that we are picking this week. Well, just because it's Saturday and we're coming down to the wire, and we already picked Thursday Night Football.
I like that show.
First game that we choose is obviously Sunday Night Baseball, and that's going to be the Braves versus the Dodgers in LA. Where does Nick go with this one?
Home.
Bravos.
He's taking taking the Braves.
Dodgers have been struggling lately.
All right.
They had a hard time containing the Cubs.
Nick or Joe, who you got?
Dodgers, because they're the Dodgers.
Yeah, I also have the Dodgers, and I look forward to a 2-home run game from Shohei Ohtani to reach 50 home runs on the season in that game, which would be the first ever.
It's so hard to believe nobody's gone 50-50.
First ever 50-50 home run stolen base in Major League Baseball history. Tell me he's not the MVP. And as we said, hey, Aaron Judge, ever since I love New York, Aaron Judge hasn't hit a home run for 16 games until today. Gave my man Shohei Ohtani a chance to catch up. Shohei, come on, win that home run title for me. Win the home run title. I need it. I want it. My preseason bet. All right, so we move on to Sunday Night Football. We have the Bears against the Texans in the battle of I could have had C.J. Stroud, but you actually got him. Joe, who you got? Bears or Texans in Houston?
Oh, Texans. The Bears, they're trying, but Caleb Williams isn't there yet. He may not get there this year. People talked them up, I think, a bit too much at the beginning of this season. Houston is the real deal.
Yeah, Houston is the real deal, but that defense of the Bears is something, like I said, to watch out for. They got to go in the second half. I don't know if they'll be able to stop all of the Bears' offensive weapons. I have the Texans also. Nick, are we making it a sweep?
I want to, but I mean, you said everything I was going to say about picking the Bears. The defense got better over the second half of that game. They have some pretty good weapons. But I still can't trust the Bears enough. I'm going to go with the Texans.
I don't blame you on that one. Next. Well, I mean, we're going to now I know our closing song is going to be for the birds or whatever, feeding the ducks for the birds, whatever it is. We got the bird game. It is the Falcons against the Eagles in Philadelphia on Monday night. The Falcons, who mentioned earlier, didn't look like they had anything going for them last weekend. The Eagles, who were playing in Brazil, come back to have a home Monday night football game. This one, I like the Falcons. I think the traveling back is going to hurt the Eagles. I'm not sold on the Eagles this year like I have been in past years.
Okay.
So I think it's more of a hope for the Falcons that what I expect to see from the Falcons and what I expect to see out of the Eagles. So I think it's more of a gut feel because the Eagles should win this one, but I really think the Falcons. I just kind of feel like they're going to figure it out from last week to this week. So, Nick, who you got?
Yeah, the traveling back might hurt them a little bit, but I mean, I watched most of that Falcons game because it was on in the station when we were doing our show. I cannot get behind that offense yet. And I know the Eagles aren't the same Eagles they've been the last couple of years. Um, I don't have enough faith in Atlanta right now. Give me the Phillies or the Phillies. Give me Philly.
Give him the Phillies. Nick loves the Phillies.
Here it is. Yeah, this is a tough one, but I think I'll take the Philadelphia Flyers in this game, guys.
Once again, Joe gets minus $10 automatically.
Yeah. But the Falcons just, I don't know what their problem. I don't know who their offensive coordinator is. Maybe it's just their offensive scheme is not very good, like it's been for the past few years. Because even though I like the style of Arthur Smith, he couldn't get Kyle Pitts the ball at all. He couldn't get Drake London involved. He never seemed to really have much at quarterback. But it's Kirk Cousins definitely looked old and slow. He looked like a guy coming off of a torn ACL in his mid-30s. So he could still get it figured out going. That's what I said. So they could get it going later in the year, and I think they probably will. They kind of feel like one of those teams with a good defense and some talent, but and then a quarterback that just cannot move the football, like how the Broncos felt in 2015, but not to that level on either side, really. So yeah, I think Philly, the Saquon Barkley thing worked out great. Their new offensive coordinator, it's Kellen Moore. Yeah, Philly, right. I think Philly has it together. Yeah, Kellen Moore and isn't it Vic Fangio also? Yeah, I think Philly
has their defense, yeah.
Yeah, I think Philly just has it more together right now. The Falcons may end up being a better team by the end of the season, but right now, man, yeah, I'm not going to bet against Saquon.
Well, like I said, short and sweet in this victory formation is we only had 3 games to pick, so I guess
you could have picked.
Well, see, Joe was done too. Joe knew it was over. He was going to try and say something smart, and then it just said adios.
That's what you get, Joe. And he's still frozen. From being at the radio station, you think he'd have better internet?
We do. Well, I guess it's time to wrap it up and say goodbye. Who knows when he'll be back?
I have never been accused of saying something smart in my entire life.
There he is. All right. It is playing very quietly. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. We appreciate you. Happy football. Go Rams. Thank you, Michael Spillon, and everybody over at E5280sports.com and our sponsor, Pikes Peak Sports Cards. We appreciate you guys as well. Don't forget to tune in to E5280sports.com for all kinds of other great shows. So tune in, make some new friends, share our show, share their shows, share your friends' shows, share shows.
Share a good internet provider for 104.3 The Fan to use, because apparently the internet here sucks.
Have a great one. We appreciate you. Love you.
Bye, everybody.
Go Broncos.